Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today, we got some new Pokemon cards to be talking about. We got a couple of new Pokemon V, and a Chandelure. For some reason, Pokemon went and revealed those new sparkling Pokemon, the ones we talked about the other day. And they went and revealed these two new Pokemon V we're going to be talking about today, and then Chandelure. And I don't really understand why they just revealed a random Chandelure. It's kind of interesting. We'll have a good chat about it in a moment. But let's just say it's a little bit weird and a little bit out of place. This is from Battle Region over in Japan. That new set, which is going to come out soon in February, might actually be called Battle Legion. We don't really know is the honest answer. And interesting to note, this will not be in Brilliant Stars. Brilliant Stars is Sword and Shield 9. This is Sword and Shield 9A in Japan, which means it will be in our Sword and Shield 10, which will be our May set, whatever comes after Brilliant Stars, which as of the moment we have no idea about. So let's start off with Garchomp, because who doesn't love Garchomp? I love Garchomp. What we got here is 200 HP, which is not great for a Pokemon V. And giving in mind, Garchomp's a big stage too, I expected more. I would expect this to be more like 220. But it's not, it's 200. And I'm a little bit sad about that. But the card's already been printed. What do you want me to do about it? And I love Garchomp, let's be clear. I went and cut that's a lie. I bubbled cut at a fairly large region in the UK with a Garchomp from Breakpoint, just because I love me some Garchomp. So, is this one any good? Yeah, I want it to be. Now, water fighting colorless, 120 damage, let's not get excited. That's just bad. Like, free energy 120 isn't good. That is not a good attack. When you're telling me it's free energy 120, but one of them has to be water and one of them has to be fighting, no! Sure, you can use Melanie to get the water energy, but again, I don't care what you're doing here. This is a bad attack and we won't talk about it anymore. But we do have a second attack, which is really really interesting. Water, 2 fighting, colorless. Discard free energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 220 to one of your opponent's Pokemon. And this is good, like really good. Because 220 is what you need to get a KO on Pokemon V. Generally speaking, with a couple of rare exceptions, Pokemon V have 220. So essentially here, this just KOs any Pokemon V. It is worth pointing out that this is just damage being done to the bench. So nowadays, with Manaphy coming around to take Mew's place as a bench barrier, Manaphy will stop you. And that is fairly important to note, if I'm honest with you. But, outside of that, this is still extremely good. The problem is the energy cost. Actually, while we're here, Telescopic Sight. Now, up until now, going from 220 to 250 with Telescopic Sight lets you do 30 more to bench Pokemon V and GX, including V-Star and V-Max. They are Pokemon V. Generally speaking, this will be largely irrelevant. There's not a huge difference between 220 and 250. But then V-Star came along. And when you look at V-Stars, you can look at stuff like Shaman, for instance. Oh, look. 250. Now, and it's not for all of them. Some of them are a lot higher. Arceus is 280. But my point is, Leafeon. Leafeon's got that gusting ability. We really like Leafeon. That's just going to sit on the bench and wait to use the gusting ability. Well, alright, it's 260, not 250, but drop a Galarian, Zigzagoon or something. My point is, going from 220 to 250 can be pretty good. The problem, it's the energy cost. It's not good enough. I'm sorry, it's just not. We're not paying this terribly easily. It's water, 2 fighting, and a colorless. And sure, you can use Melanie for the water. And you can't use B. Remember, B only attaches energy to fighting Pokemon. And this ain't no fighting Pokemon. It's a dragon, so that doesn't work. It's just awkward. In a world where we still had double dragon energy, and I can use Melanie and double dragon energy, now this is legit. This is an attack that might actually work. It's one that I can get behind. That's not the world we're living in, ladies and gentlemen. It's just not. And that sucks. And you're discarding 3 of them in order to use it. Yes, we did see that gritty pickaxe. That's the one that lets you look at the top card of your deck. If it's a fighting energy, attach it to one of your bench. Otherwise, put it into your hand. But as I told you in the Lucaria video where we looked at that, it's just not easy to use. And you've got to use some weird combination of that and something to put fighting energy on top of your deck and Melanie just in order to be able to get this firing. Like I say, with double dragon energy, I can see an argument for this. Without it, it's not good enough. I'm giving it 3 Wassies. And honestly, most of that is just potential. 3 Wassies is generous. That second attack is a legitimately good attack if we can pay for it. And right now, we can't pay for it, so it's not a good attack. But we've also seen another Pokémon V. It is Starmie. Remembering in French, this will be Star Ross V. And that makes me very happy indeed. And I'm a man that grew up near the beach, and that is an image that kind of reminds me of my childhood. Is it any good? Well, 190 HP on a Pokemon V is bad. Like, that is low. There's no way around it. That is a low amount of HP. Though I do appreciate the free retreat. The free retreat is pretty cool. And for 2 colorless energy, you deal 50 damage, and it's not affected by weakness, resistance, or any other effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. Not hitting for weakness kind of sucks, but it's always nice to have an attack like this in your deck. It's not what you want to build your deck around, but we have a million cards. Some of them are out now, some of them aren't out now, some of them have rotated, some we've never seen before, etc., that seek to stop you attacking with certain Pokemon. And what this does so nicely is stops them, to be honest with you. And that's kind of my point here. I like this. I like that you can go through anything that you've got an answer to anything, but I don't like the 2 energy. Sure, we got double turbo energy nowadays, which will absolutely count, but double turbo energy will also make this 30 damage, not 50, and you're not doing much damage on its own. And with an attack like this, the less damage you do, the more time your opponent's got to work around it. Don't like it. Super awkward. Makes me nervous. I'm sorry. Hey ho. Don't like the first attack. Second attack, however, 2 water energy, 50 damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. Yes, I legitimately love this. In any deck playing water energy, especially if they're playing Melanie to accelerate it, I love this attack. This is brilliant, because this adds up really quickly. If your opponent's got 3 energy attached to all of their Pokemon combined, 150, there's most single prize Pokemon. 4 energy, 200, a lot of Pokemon Vs. 5 energy, 250, all Pokemon Vs and some V-Star. 6 energy, 300, there's all the V-Star and some weak V-Maxes. 7 energy, literally everything. And don't get me wrong, this is not always going to work. There are going to be some decks that don't play enough energy or just never attach it. And there are going to be some decks that do, but then don't attach it to try and hurt you. Although I've made this point many times before in many videos. If we ever get to the stage where your opponent is deliberately not attaching energy that they want to attach just to try and slow your attacks down, that's a win for you. Anytime your opponent is deliberately slowing down their own deck to try and hurt you, you're winning that round and life is good. So yay! And I don't know if you necessarily want to build a deck around Star Ross V, but I absolutely think that if it's a deck which can do it, you absolutely should play this as a one-off, as long as you've got space and all of that stuff. Because if I'm playing a water deck, especially with Melanie, or Frostmoth will do nicely here as well, Frostlass for that matter, then all I need to do is accelerate a single energy, attach for turn, and then I can go and get a big one-hit KO. And either I get a big one-hit KO, yay, life is good, or I don't get a big one-hit KO because my opponent is going, ha ha ha, I'm not going to attach energy, I want to attach, just to stop your Starmie. And then Starmie's not actually doing anything, but it's really helping you out throughout the game. I love Starmie V, I'm giving it 4 Wassies. I think it is a brilliant card, and I think it's going to see play in a whole bunch of decks. It is that gosh darned good. I'm a big fan of Starmie V. Not every deck can play it, but the decks that can, having it there for either a cheeky big attack if your opponent messes up or as a deterrent, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But we also need to have a little bit of a chat about Chandelure. Now, incidentally, we've seen the Litwick and the Lampent as well. Litwick discards the top card of your opponent's deck. Lampent does 20 damage and discards an energy on a coin flip. It's not particularly good. I'm not even bothered putting the attacks up on the screen. I do just want to shout out quickly that Lampent is from a new artist, one that we've not seen many cards from at all. It is Kurimitsu, and I'm sorry for the pronunciation there, which is probably terrible, but literally all we've seen up till now is the Dedenne character rare, the Luxio that came around in Starbirth, and the promo Oshawott, which you might recognise as the one that I keep calling the KFC Oshawott, because in Taiwan it's being given out in KFC. And that's it, it's only the 4th card by that artist, they're worth a shout out. Really new, colourful style. Anyone who likes aggressive, bold colours in their art, I've got wonderful news, this might be your new favourite artist. But Chandelure itself, I mean, look, 150 HP on a stage 2, not very good. 90 damage for 2 energy, not very good. But we have an ability that on the face of it sounds really good. Deck Roast. Once during your turn, when you play this card from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may discard the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. It's actual mill. Full on mill. And it sounds amazing, but we've seen it before. And not even once. We have seen this more than once, which sounds a little bit obvious when it follows my previous statement. But I remember this from the Aggron. As soon as I saw this, I was like, man, that's that Aggron. We've seen that Aggron before. But we also saw it on Rhyperior. The Aggron was from Dragons Exalted, and the Rhyperior was from Burning Shadows. And those were stage 2s, and they were both incidentally called Toppling Wind, which is quite interesting. But we've seen them before. And the fact of the matter is, they were never good enough. Neither of those cards ever ended up being good enough. And sure, we've got Scoop Up Net nowadays, so you can essentially pick them up and then reuse it and keep doing it. And I'm hearing rumours, especially from some of my Patreons over at patreon.com/PTCGradio, that new Durant might actually be kind of cool. And kind of viable and kind of good. That's the one that's got Devour, the one that came around in Battle Styles. And that with Double Turbo Energy is only going to get better as time goes by. So, I want this to be cut. No, actually, I don't. No, I'm lying to you. I hate mill decks. I actually want this to be terrible. But I like Chandelure. It's such an awkward situation. Like Chandelure, hate mill decks. If you're playing mill decks, this is a fun one to play around with. But if you're playing mill decks, you really want to have a nice streamlined deck to start milling your opponent as fast as possible. Are you going to want to play around with a stage 2 line and Scoop Up Net and all of that? And the answer might be yes. And if that is the case, brilliant. I wish you luck. Unless you play me, in which case I hope you draw absolutely terrible. But the fact of the matter is, if you're looking for some milling action, ladies and gentlemen, Chandelure has got ya. Just be warned that we've seen this ability before, and it didn't work out brilliantly then. So, oh wait, score, I don't know, 3 Wassies might be good, but probably going to be too awkward. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the other new cards you needed to know about, and now it's over to you guys. I want to know what you think about these. I want to know if you think you can get Garchomp working. I want to know if you think Starmie is as good as I think it is, and I want to know if you think Chandelure can work, or whether it's just too much of a stage 2. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGradio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.